Okay, so hello everybody. So today I have a guest here, a special guest and close to my heart. Her name is Gina, and she is one of I met her through my mastermind when I first launched my mastermind last year in December. She's one of you know, uh, one of those students who signed up in my group and tried me even if they don't know anything about me yet, right? Like, so thank you, Gina, for that. So how are you? Like, please introduce yourself, Gina.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm very honored and privileged to be doing this with you today because I have a great level of respect for you and what you're doing it and how you're doing it. Hey, everybody, my name is Gina Taschuk, and I am an Amazon seller who's been selling in the Amazon marketplace for about 5 years now, but didn't really get serious till a couple of years ago. So I consider Amazon my MBA because I never went to university. So I'm always learning and happy to be part of this group and help other people learn as well because you're never too old to learn.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Really beautiful. So, okay, so I want to ask you a question. So, when did you find out about Amazon? And how did you learn about Amazon selling actually?
It's quite an interesting story because I am a true bargain hunter at heart. I don't ever believe in buying anything at full price. I'm always looking for a deal, and I'm always one person who is able to look at something and see the value and decide that I can flip it for a larger amount of money. So I've done that for years and years through various platforms before a friend introduced me to the fact that his nephew was doing Amazon and was apparently doing quite well with it. Now, that's about 5 years ago, back in 2018. So at that point, there weren't very many Canadian resources, and the ones that did exist were very poor. So this became a journey where I had to teach myself. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to do this. There were many reasons that led up to why I wanted to become an Amazon seller, but I needed to learn how to do this, and I needed to do it with very little investment and very little risk. So I basically started off teaching myself the Amazon platform by buying books, DVDs, and CDs from thrift stores and yard sales and online sites that I would have used in the past, because I knew with a very, very small investment, it was going to allow me to learn the Amazon platform so that I could understand the process, and literally taught myself from the ground up how to create a nominal business at that time. The first couple of years, I probably did close to $30,000 in sales, which to me was the world, right? But I wasn't really taking it seriously as a full-time job. The interesting point of the journey is that the gentleman who introduced me, he also started working doing this business, and we were kind of accountability partners. And he flaked off and he never did anything, and then came back to me about a year later and wanted to know how things were going. And I said, well, you could be in the same place that I am right now. And, sales were up about $100,000 at that point. So it's quite
Wow,
interesting.
that's amazing. So I think we have a very similar story because I also started without money, and I also started with books. I go to garage sale, which is right now summertime. It's the best time to go,
Yeah.
and I just flip books. I go to thrift store and flip books as well. And I think we have a very similar story. And I also have an accountability partner who end up not continuing it. And we were wishing, oh, I wish we can sell at least $10,000 a month. That's our wish. And then I think we reconnect last year, and she said, "Oh my God, do you remember you still used to want to only, wishing for 100,000 in a year, and here you are selling 100,000 in a
Come on.
month, right? Isn't that amazing?" So with you, how much is your initial investment? Because a lot of people actually would ask, oh, like how much money do I need to start Amazon selling? Do you need a lot of capital in terms of arbitrage though, right? Because arbitrage is different from private label. And Gina here is doing arbitrage, which is in layman's term is basically flipping, right? Buying, looking for possible profitable product that you can flip on Amazon. So with you, Gina, how much is your initial investment?
Oh my God, it would have been like a couple of $100s. I mean, when you're starting, you're so afraid that you're going to lose the money and that it's not going to work out. But when you're buying books from thrift stores, you can buy a lot of books and DVDs for $200, you know?
Yep, that's very true. So for those who are new here, that's one way to scale up, to have extra money. Like for example, I end up finding a book, like a psychology book, because I also focused on a lot of textbooks and buy it for like, I think 80 cents or something in a how do you call that? Like garage sale, and then flip it for 80 bucks, right? So those are the really good moments for me. Like it's just so satisfying. I think that you feel the same, right?
Oh my God, I have a similar book story, but it's better than yours. I used to buy a lot of stuff from auctions from a site called Max Sold.
Okay.
And at one point, I actually did auctions on Max Sold. But because Max Sold is such an interesting platform, this is a great place for newbies to research because their auctions go up and there's a week before the auction closes. So you can research the items, determine what the value is, and then decide how much you want to bid on them because everything happens in the last couple of minutes. There was a naturopathic book. I bought it for $3 and sold it for $450.
OMG. Wow, that's amazing. And that's because of a proper research, right? It's
Yes.
not like for the audience here who's watching, it's not just like about any books. You also need to research, make sure that you look at the data in Keepa, that it actually sold before, how much it sold before, and that's how you can price it really well. That's so amazing. I'm like, I don't have that kind of experience, $450, but I've heard about Max Sold. So for those who doesn't know it, it's like an auction, online auction, right? So
Correct.
you bid, and then if you win, then you get the product. So that's I heard about it too because I used to also buy in Max Sold. That's how I fill out our house with stuff from Max Sold, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, do you like? Would you mind, like, we already posted, right? How old are you, and do you still work, or like do you have extra job, or this is your full-time job? Can you tell me about it?
Well, I am 71 years old. I will be 72 in September. I had to end up quitting my job that I had just after my 64th birthday because I was very close to needing my first hip replacement. I was a sales rep for a consumer goods company dealing with big box stores and grocery stores. So walking was a real issue for me. So unfortunately, you know how companies are. They don't always want to work with you and they don't like what's going on. So finally, I just said, okay, the heck with this. I'm out of here. So at 64, I quit. Didn't have enough years in to create any great amount of severance because I have to tell you, I get bored with things very easily. So I like to move around in the workforce. So I have all kinds of different skills that I've acquired. So yes, you can call me Jill of all trades for sure. But that year, I had to create an income while I wasn't working and before Canada Pension and OAS were going to kick in. And I funded that year by selling stuff on Marketplace, stuff that I would buy, flip, and make money on. A lot of it came from, you know, Max Sold and other places because I'd always been into crafting, craft shows, buying at yard sales, having yard sales. You work for a lot of consumer goods companies. You get a lot of perks along the way that none of us need. So what I need it for, I'd rather create the money for my Amazon business with anything that I can get rid of, and somebody's still getting a wonderful deal and I'm still making money. So I still to this day use Marketplace quite extensively and my local bidding sites for my Amazon returns.
Wow, that's amazing. So so what you're trying to tell us is that you are using multiple platform in order for you to make money. So not just Amazon, but Facebook Marketplace, like auction places and stuff. That's really like a good insight because a lot of people like they don't think outside the box, right? But I think to become a real entrepreneur, you need to be able to think outside the box. And I think you're a good example of that, Gina, that you can really like you're not just like focus on Amazon, but actually like looking for other opportunities. And I think that's what we should do. We need to constantly evolve if we want to become a successful entrepreneur, right? So
Exactly, because you never know. I mean, to this day, in the last month alone, I sold a brand new in the box Playtex baby bottle nurser gift set that I bought from one of the bidding sites for $10. It sold on Amazon for $70.
wow, that's amazing. Do you also sell like secondhand on Amazon?
Hardly ever.
Okay, so if it's
The only
secondhand,
thing,
you
the
sell
only
it
thing
on.
would be books or music,
Okay, so
but my
that's good to
products
know.
are all brand new products.
Yeah, because that's there's also some people who specialize on that they also have, like for example, I know somebody who sells like used like music player or something
Yeah.
like that, something that's like you just need to do the proper research. Instead of selling it on eBay, you also sell it on Amazon secondhand, and that's allowed as well. So you really like you can really do a lot of things on Amazon. So with you, do you focus on arbitrage or do you also have wholesale? So what kind of strategy do you have for your business?
My business is predominantly arbitrage. I did have a wonderful wholesale account that was one product and it did great for me for about 2 years. And then Amazon decided that it was their turn to move in and take over. And, I don't know how they do it because they sell the product at a price that you can literally only just buy it at. So unfortunately, that went by the wayside. I do want to expand my business more into wholesale because I think that that's very important for quantity buying. Once you've learned what you need to learn and you understand the buying process properly and the sending process of how much you need to send into Amazon. So wholesale will become more important, but it's mostly still retail arbitrage because I love to shop. It's my passion. I love to
Yeah.
shop.
Okay, so for those who doesn't know anything about the terminology, so arbitrage just means flipping, like buying in a big box store like Walmart, Canadian Tire, Real Canadian Superstore, and then buying it and researching on Amazon, see if it's making money, if it's gonna make you profit, and then you buy it and then you sell it on Amazon for a profit. That's arbitrage. And for those who like, I think a lot in YouTube and other like social media, a lot of people only knows about private label, right? Because private label, like they're really putting it there as like the only way to make money. But actually, like Gina, can you tell me, like a lot of people say, oh, it's a scam, like arbitrage or like selling on Amazon is a scam. So can you tell me if this is real or that even arbitrage is dead, like in your
Well,
own point of view?
arbitrage is definitely not dead. I don't know that arbitrage will actually be dead for maybe 15 or 20 years to come. I think there's a ton of opportunity there. And as far as Amazon being a legitimate business, it is probably the most legitimate business that you can get involved in. People have to understand, where else can I go for $29.99 a month and get access to the Amazon platform and have the ability to list my products, don't have to do any advertising, don't have to pay rent, don't have to pay overhead, don't have to pay employees, don't have to sit at a retail location for 10 hours a day and worry about how I'm going to keep the lights on or the store's shelves stocked. And Amazon lets me send in the quantity of product that I want to send in, when I want to send it, when I want to work, when I don't want to work. And I get to look at my phone in the morning and see if something is sold. And then every 2 weeks, Amazon is very kind and they deposit a paycheck into my account for me. So it is amazing. And I don't know that I took it very seriously in the beginning because I deem it that I was more playing around with it. But when I did decide to get serious in year 3 is when I incorporated my business and I increased my sales by $100,000 that year.
Wow. So how do you like? I want to ask you, like, how much do you make now, more or less, like, yearly, monthly? Can you tell us? And if you don't mind, also profits. So at least people who's not selling yet, and this group is actually meant for people who like want to know about Amazon, like they're not sure yet. A lot of here are newbie and doesn't know yet if Amazon really is a a thing, or like that you can make really business out of it. So can you tell us about your sales every month, sales every year, and profits, so at least they have an idea on how much you make, right?
Well, guys, you have to understand that I'm almost 72 years old. So my goals for my Amazon business may be very, very different than someone who's coming in to start this business and look to replace their income and get rid of their full-time job. So when I say that I would look to be in the neighborhood of $150,000 to $250,000 in sales, then that would be my goal. Okay. My sales will vary every single month because we all know in September, October, November, December, things go crazy and sales are just wild, and it's like a roller coaster ride on Amazon. But I would say that, we can look anywhere between $5,000 a month in sales, and maybe I've done as much as $30,000 a month in sales. So I look at my business a lot different than a lot of other people because my strategy is to look for more high profit items. So I'm looking for higher ROI. That gives me room to play if Amazon comes into the picture or if number of sellers increases on a listing. And I also look at a lot of oversized items because there's less competition with oversized items because a lot of people don't want to go there. I don't understand that. I mean, if I can buy something at $49 and Amazon takes $49 in fees and my sale is $199, then I've made $100 in profit on one item.
Yes.
I don't want to do 20 items at $5. Now, I'm not going to find as many $100 profit items, but when I find them, I'll try and buy as many as I can and stockpile them for a couple of months. And that way, you've got a little bit of a continuous flow. It doesn't mean that I won't look for other products that are certainly much less, because it hurts very badly when you get a return on a very expensive product. But you know what, there's always a reserve in the account. So what? It's a chance that I take, and I'm willing to take that chance at this stage of my career. But it's easier to put one item in a box with a label instead of 20 items in a box with the same labels to have to worry about the same profit. So
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your strategy, because in Amazon selling, there's different strategies that you can do, right? Some people, their strategy might be on points, right? Some people, the strategy is to make as little, profit as possible, but fast moving, like the wholesale, right? So with the wholesale, it's more on like it should be fast moving. So even if they're making $1 per piece, but it's fast moving and it sells like for example 200 a month, then that's good for them, right? So for you, you're focusing more on high profit items in order for you to get the most out of it. Because like I don't know if it's okay to share it with in this group, but Gina called me, messaged me one time, right? You were here in Welland, in my area, looking for this particular product because she sold. Like, would you mind telling the story? Is that okay if you tell the story? I was like, oh my goodness, Gina, you're really so creative.
You have to become a really good problem solver in this business. And it's critically important. I've talked in our group when we've had lives in our group about that. I'll give you an example of the day that I went to Welland. So guys, I live near Oshawa. So it's quite a ways from Welland. And the day that I went to Welland, I also went to Stratford. But because I found an item and it was available in quantity in both of those stores, Welland and Stratford, I placed curbside orders for pickup. And then I drove, and I was going to visit with Cheryl, but she was busy that day. And I went and I did that. And consequently, because I was able to get a lot of that item on clearance, I did $20,000 in sales the other month, which I never do at this time of year. So,
And how much did you pick up per location?
oh my God, 50 here, 30 there, 10 here, 40 here. I mean, I probably went through about 200 was all I could get.
And how much is per unit profit?
Each unit was $34 to buy, and they sold anywhere, because you have to remember, this is an important part of the strategy. The item is now discontinued. It's disappearing off the market. Some of them sold at $70, and as more and more disappeared, the price went all the way up to $89.
Wow. So you made almost 100% ROI?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So this strategy is also really good. It really depends at the end of the day on your strategy. But I also encourage people not to just focus on clearance, right? Because not all, like if you know what you're looking for, then it's good. So with Gina have like a lot of experience already, that she is confident of her product research, right? You know exactly, okay, I can buy 20 pieces of this or 50 pieces, and I know that they're gonna sell out, right? But if you are new in Amazon selling, please don't do that, right? Because you might not know yet on how to decipher if this product is gonna be selling or not. So I have a course, a beginner's course for Canadians who are wanting to do Amazon arbitrage as well. And I teach specifically on how to do research, proper research, in order for you to know if the product sells or not, right? So if you are interested, I'm going to put the link below later, and you guys can, I'm actually going to do sale soon. Anyways, okay, so Gina, what made you decide to stick with arbitrage instead of wholesale or private label? What made you decide, okay, I'm going to do arbitrage instead?
I was never interested in private label. That whole concept of having to find a product and make sure that you branded it and had it sent from China and not knowing and spending thousands and thousands of dollars and taking chances with new listings never, ever appealed to me. I did, however, in the beginning, like a lot of people have, start trying a wholesale course. It was a very expensive course. It was a US-based course. It didn't offer a lot of information for Canadians. And for anybody who's listening, I really want you to understand that Cheryl works very hard to make sure that she provides us with the correct information. And I can recall in that wholesale course, trying to find out, do I set up a corporation? Do I set up an LLC? And there was nobody in the United States that could help me with that information definitively. We've had an interview that Cheryl has posted on the site with Mohammed Akif, who talks specifically about LLC and whether or not you should be a Canadian corporation, or all the reasons and all of the information that you need to know. Because a lot of people don't understand that if you're a Canadian seller with a corporation here and you set up an LLC in the States, you're going to be doubly taxed. So if you're going to take this business seriously, you need to have the right information. That wholesale course was a terrible waste of money, and it was thousands of dollars. I also did some private coaching with that. I also hired a virtual assistant, and all of that money just went down the drain. So the problem is that if you're a new person, you can't do those things if you can't teach those things to somebody else, so that you know that the output that you're going to receive is what you're looking for. So it's critically important to start in the right place with the least amount of investment, get your feet wet, get your knowledge base. Know that you're not going to sleep at night with fear, wondering, oh my goodness, I've spent so much money. Now what do I do? So arbitrage is definitely not dead, and nor will it ever be. And for me to not have to advertise and know that I've got sales on Amazon every day because customers are coming because I learned how to price my products competitively through the research that I've done, what more could we ask for? I can take time off whenever I want. I can work at 2 o'clock in the morning if I want, which I love doing. Cheryl knows I like sleeping in the morning, right? I can talk with other people in the community. I've made tons of friends here. I've tried to help tons of people because I know how much of a struggle it was in the beginning. And I know that people are hurting out there right now. They're losing their jobs. They're in a situation where they can't afford their mortgage payments. You can't even afford to go to the grocery store and feed your children anymore. It's gotten so out of hand. So it's almost at the point in time where if you don't have a side hustle that is legitimate and that is constantly bringing you money, you are going to struggle. I could not survive on my Canada pension and my OAS. That's just impossible. But there's lots of seniors out there that are on that fixed income. And what the heck do they do? What are they having to give up? So yes, this is a very legitimate and very viable business, and you can be as successful as you want to be here.
So what would you advise then for people like same age as your retirees, who maybe there's retirees who's watching here right now? Do you have any, like, a lot of them, like, I think a lot of people, once they're retire and stuff, they think that they're not capable anymore. And one of the best, I think I would say, Gina, that I commend you is that at your age, so when I met you last December, we were doing the mastermind, right? And during the mastermind, one of the things that really like inspired me so much personally is that with you having just a hip replacement, and here you are posting every single week all those boxes. It was her birthday and she's packing, and for me, like, that was like I'm so privileged to meet you, because when I saw you doing that, I'm thinking like, there's no excuses for me now. Like, I cannot make excuses for myself, because if Gina, who is 70-year-old and just had a hip replacement, and she can send like 5-10 boxes every single week, how much more am I? Who as you strong, able? So you really crush our excuses. That's basically it, right? So for those of like, you know, same age as you, and they're thinking like, oh, I'm too old to do this. Like, you know, I don't think I have all the energy to move around and stuff like that. So what would you advise them?
Well, first of all, you have to want to do something. There are a lot of seniors who get to the point where they retire and they decide that that's it. They don't want to do anything. I am not the type of girl who wants to sit at home and cook and clean and watch TV all day long and be miserable and be boring. I need some excitement in my life. So if you're a senior, there is no reason, because I think it's critically important for seniors to continue to learn, especially in this day and age of technology. I have many friends who don't even know how to send an email. And I feel really bad for them, because I think they're missing out on so many things. And there's so many opportunities now for courses online and learning things online and courses at senior centers. So if you're a senior and you want to make some extra money, unless you've got an incredible pension or family money, like, I think everybody wants to make some extra money, but I think they also want to have a purpose and a passion. Like, this brings me joy. And I think if you know what your passion is, and that you either enjoy learning or you enjoy interacting with people, or just having something different to say, I actually did this, then there's all kinds of opportunities for seniors. You'd need to obviously be somewhat computer literate, but you don't have to be a computer genius to do Amazon. You need to have a smartphone and know how to use it. You need to have internet at your house and a comfortable place to work. And then $29.99 a month gets you an Amazon account. So, and you don't even have to have a professional account in the beginning if you don't want, but I think it's a mistake if you don't. And go and take some courses at a senior center if you need to upgrade some of those skills. It's going to get you out of the house. It's going to get you meeting people. And once you're in a community of people who are doing, their mindset is very different than people who are sitting at home. As I said, friends, Cheryl, that don't know how to send an email, friends that are retired, that are losing their memory. I look at that and I say, oh my God, not me. That's not for me, you know. I will do whatever I can as long as I can and make myself happy along the way. Right?
That's a good advice, Gina. I think so with you, like you're saying how like a sense of community is very important, and I think that's the reason why I decided to create a group. And so in the beginning, I don't know where this teaching is going as well. Like I just put it there hoping that I can help other sellers who keep on reaching out to me, but I never realized how it will grow up like really well. And meeting a lot, like one of the things is like you might think that because I'm the coach, I'm not learning anything from you guys, right? But the truth is, like, the sense of community that we built, right? Like it's so powerful. So because for me, I want to build a community where everybody can share the pie, not based on scarcity, that you need to hide your product, or you need, like, it's okay not to go for a specific, but at least like you're willing to share, okay, where do you go, or like what category you're up to, right? So those kind, and we help each other. And that's something that I think is very important if you are also in Amazon selling business, because it can get lonely. Like for example, with me and my husband, this is our full-time job. And for you, Gina, right, I think your life now as a senior is way better because you meet people online, right?
Yeah.
You have this community who you can actually understand you in a way too, right? Because maybe your friends, family might not understand what you're doing. They think you're just, like, for example, with me, maybe they think I'm just sitting in the house all the time. In the beginning, nobody understood me and nobody took me seriously until they saw that I managed to buy a house. And then that's the time that they realized, oh, they're making money because they managed to do that, right? So only after you prove yourself. So a sense of community is, I think, very important to have as an Amazon seller. So in your opinion, okay, what is the key to your success?
I have a never give up attitude. I try to be very consistent. I never stop learning. I don't care how long you've been in this business. I think it's really important to stay engaged with courses. And I don't mean just technical courses to learn Amazon skills. I'm involved in a lot of other courses that are mindset and, wellness and just creating a better quality of life, because a lot of us are living longer. So if we're living longer, we want to live better, right? But I think having a purpose and having a passion defines what you're going to put into what you do. Because if you have nothing, then what are you going to talk about to somebody? The negativity that comes from the loneliness and from the sadness, I've had to literally release some of the people in my life because I can't help people who don't want to be helped. And I don't want people to bring me down. So I won't allow that now, because my well-being is so important and I've worked so hard to get to this point in my life. So I think that, there's an opportunity here for people to say, okay, it's work. Yes, I'm going to do this and I'm going to consistently do it. I was very fortunate to have an accountability partner along the way with another lady who I'm still accountable to today. And we talk almost every single day. Rarely a day goes by that we miss. And we support each other. We share information. We care about each other. And then sometimes we just get together for lunch just because, right? Somehow Amazon always creeps into the conversation. Because it does.
For sure, right?
But I I have friends who think I'm crazy. They don't understand why I work the way I work. They think because I'm home that they can just call at any time of day because I'm not doing anything, right? They don't understand, but that's okay. I'd rather be misunderstood and happy.
And I think because of Amazon, you're gonna live longer, Gina. I can already sense that because you still like I read about this book about ikigai, meaning like the reason to live. And I think this is your reason to live. I can see the pure joy in you just talking about Amazon, right? So okay, so give us a little bit of tips because there's like 22 people watching here, and a lot of them like I think are students who wants to have a little bit of tips on what category are you specializing in.
Wow.
And what would you recommend? I hope you don't mind sharing. Like, what category do you think is really good to focus on, and what's your success on that one?
I think home and kitchen is a really, really great category. I sell a lot of small kitchen appliances because they're very well recognized brands, because everybody in the world wants an air fryer today, because, everybody's got them on sale at some point, they're readily available. So I think that you have to be very intuitive about what do people want to spend their money on. I also still sell quite a few toys, but not as many as I did in the past because I've always done extremely well with toys, especially Lego. You will always, always do well. But, finding some of these products on clearance can be quite the issue. So you're always on a hunt, right? I do a little bit of pet.
Groceries or not really?
Not really.
Wow.
Not really. Cheryl, I still need to get my act together and start doing that. But groceries has not been.
That's very interesting because with me, I specialize also on groceries. I do multiple, but groceries is one of the big categories for me. And here you are, completely different. And it's so surprising for me because I think like most women will gonna gravitate on groceries because those are the ones that we know the most. But here you are, like very completely different category than us. Like, so I'm curious, like because you sell a lot of small appliances, is there a lot of returns? Like I'm wondering if there's a return, or if it does it offset, like because it's high profit in a way, then it will offset whatever are the returns are.
It goes in waves. Recently, I've had more returns than I've had in the past. And I think people might be in a situation where maybe they're starting to realize that there is a difference between wants and needs. And, maybe somebody in the background's chirping over their shoulder saying, do you really need that? And so things are coming back, maybe because it was Mother's Day and Father's Day, gifts were being returned.
Okay, yeah. I guess that's
I thought to myself, there has to be a reason why the returns were higher, because they don't usually see a lot. And that's fortunate for me because, if you have an item that's selling for $200, and you get a return, and then you get another one in the same day, that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But it's also something that I've always been willing to do.
And take the risk, right?
And take the risk. And, we've talked a lot about this too. I also will compete with Amazon, and I have almost for a couple of years in my career. I don't necessarily go looking for them, but if they're on a listing and it's a good listing and I know the numbers and I know the buy box statistics, I will compete with them as long as I'm confident that I can get a piece of the pie too. But there's millions of products that we can sell.
Yeah, and actually home and kitchen is number one. Like I look at it recently. It's like in Canada, Amazon Canada, they sell, I think, $486 million every month for home and kitchen. They're the top one in the category. So you are getting some of those pie, Gina. Like you are on the right track with your category. And that's amazing. And I think I want to emphasize that as a seller, so it's up to you, like it depends on your personality, right? There's some people who get nervous instantly when things are not working out, or like when there's returns and stuff like, and then so that's why you need to know yourself. like, are you a risk taker or you like to be on the safe side? So if you are a risk taker, you can be like Gina, where you can buy, high profit item, but it can be like high return as well. It's possible. So you just need to learn how to deal with returns and how to deal when like there's more than usual return, right? But you can also, like, if you don't want to be that risk taker, then you can focus on, like, for example, products that you can sell up to, like, you can buy up to $25, so that when things are getting returned, you don't get hit too much, right? So those kind of things are the one that you need to decide for yourself as a seller, what would be good for you and what will keep you the peace of mind, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be like waking up in the middle of it saying like, oh my goodness, I have so much return. What am I going to do, right? So you don't want that. Okay, so what's your business goal for next year? I'm wondering, what's your goal? Can you share with us?
Yeah, I can. I mean, for now, my goals are hopefully to do some more traveling. Along the way, Amazon has funded a trip to China for me, which was something that was on my bucket list.
Wow, that's
before,
amazing.
yeah, that was before COVID. And usually there's, Mexico or Cuba or something in there every year. My goals for my business are to do more online arbitrage, because I realize that at some point it starts to become difficult. I mean, I am getting older, so my energy isn't as good as it was 5
So
years ago.
are you starting the prep center? So for those who doesn't know, in here, like, if you're like, for example, similar age as Gina, you don't have the energy, you can actually hire a prep center, which is the one who prep your product, and they're the one who ship it to the Amazon warehouse. So what you do is you pay them fees in order for them so basically what Gina is saying, you'll buy online and then ship it to the prep center. They take care of it. They ship it to Amazon. So basically you don't touch the products. All you do is purchase. Is that what you're planning to do more full time?
I will do more of that. It's hard for me though, because I love to go in the store, and the challenge of the hunt to find the items that are good profit and good sales, right?
Yeah.
You get to touch them in the store. So it's a little bit different, right?
And also because you love shopping, you really like retail arbitrage. I guess you don't need to pack it. Like, you can just buy and then drop it off in the prep center. You still get those adrenaline rush from shopping, right? You will still have it in a way.
Yeah. One of my goals is to continue to be 100,000 plus seller year after year. I mean, and that will change with, what the year brings.
Yes.
At some point, I've always wanted to do some teaching and create some courses. And I also, as I said, I look into a lot of other courses that I take and courses that I help promote for another platform that I'm involved in. So I'm always looking for other business opportunities, because you never know what's going to appear in your lap. And if you don't explore, you just don't know.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Like, hopefully you and me can do something together. I'm excited for that because I think, you've been a long time seller as well. You're so helpful. And I think they can learn from you as well. Like, if you're willing to share your knowledge with us about, like, for example, how to find all these good deals in clearance and stuff. That's not my specialty, and I think that's yours. I think you can, like, people would be interested to learn about that as well, right? So, okay, so I guess before we end this really amazing interview, Gina, like, is there, like, last one questions for me, like, what's your advice to all the newbies out there? Like, they're just starting, like a lot of my students are starting. What would you advise them? Because I think it's important to hear from someone who's been in the business as well for a while. Go and give them your last advice before we end this interview.
I think it's critically important that you never stop learning. None of us know what we don't know. And there's lots of information out there that we don't know. And if you want to get better, you have to be open to learning and not think that you're a know-it-all, because there's just so much information. I mean, 5 years into Amazon, and there's still things I learn and still things I don't know about the Amazon platform. So you have to keep learning, and that's where it becomes critically important to be part of a community and to be engaged in that community, but also to participate in that community. You can't just show up and continually ask questions without you wanting to give something back. That's not the purpose of that community. It's to get to know those people, have them become friends, have them so that you understand what they're going through so that you can help support them. You know, we have several people in our community that I speak to outside of our group, and we have some wonderful conversations. And that creates more friends for me. That creates more excitement for me. That creates more people who understand what I'm doing. And that is great. And it's wonderful to share that information, because I wish I would have had that in the beginning. So I do understand how critically important that is. Make sure that you learn enough so that you're not jumping prematurely into this business and doing things where you're buying software you don't need. You're spending money on virtual assistants that you don't need. Make sure that you know where your money's going and that you can track your goals and you can make sure that those goals are being achieved, because otherwise you could be very badly deceiving yourself, thinking that maybe you're successful when actually you're not. So I think you have to take a hard picture of yourself and understand, where do I want this to go? What do you want out of this business? How much do you want to make? Do you want to create a career that's outside of your work? Do you want to have something that you can get your family involved with? Do you want to have something that you can leave to your children? Like, you have to know your why, and you have to understand that Amazon is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's hard work. It's a simple business, but it's not easy to do if you are not consistent and are not willing to put in the time, because you'll get out of it what you put into it.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's
beautiful. That's beautiful, Gina. Thank you so much for lending your time today. And I think everybody here learned something from you and got inspired by you. So for those of you who are watching, so be like Gina, okay? So I think one of the takeaway that I would say in this interview with you is that we cannot live in excuses. Like, if Gina can do it, you know, so can we, right? Like, if she can make that kind of money and she can ship those amount of products every single week, why can't we? So we need to just show that, you know, if Gina can do it, we can do it too. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for listening to our interview. Thank you, Gina, once again for being here, and I hope everybody learns from Gina. And I'm trying my best to come up with more speakers. So if I have interviews, please support and watch the interview. I'm going to be posting it prior to the interview, and I will invite you all to watch again. So thank you so much, and have a good day, guys.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate you asking me. I feel very honored and very humbled by that. I'm very happy to be a part of your group and support you, because I 100% believe that what you're doing in Canada is so very important, and people need it now more than ever.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm teary you saying that, because I think it's not just about the money, but actually helping people, like in this time where a lot of people are really having a hard time, right? And this is the time that we can help each other to give our kids a better life, right? Thank you so much. Have a good day, guys.